VK5WI. This broadcast originates from VK5RAD and is being sponsored by the Radio Clubs of South Australia. Time for the broadcast. From Australia, this is VK1WIA and the weekly WIA amateur radio news service on RF, internet streaming and text at wia.org.au. WIA National News for week commencing October 19th, 2018. Hello, I'm Paul, VK2GX, your host for this edition of the WIA National News, brought to you by the Guides and Scouts participating in Jamboree on the air.
So what is it that BTP do for the Jamboree on the internet, Jamboree on the air? Let's have a look, shall we? So here we have a scout hall, which every year all the scouts get together, guides, rovers, cubs, all the scouts around the world get together at the same period of time, and they all chat. They chat via the internet, they chat via radio, they chat via all sorts of means and have all sorts of communications, semaphore, Morse code, packet radio, amateur TV, all kinds of things. So we're here to help them stimulate their minds and make them think about what they can do. So let's go have a look through that door and see what we get up to. Here we are in the troop leader's office, and BTP have provided this server and switch and all the software that's running that will share the internet. Now, as we're in a location without any NBN or even ADSL, we're using Bluetooth from the server to an iPhone 7, and we're actually going out over the 4G network. Now, for our own duty of care, of course, all the chat and everything else is actually being recorded. We're using packet sniffing software to record everything that's going on so we can review it later, and we can keep an eye on what's going on. So this is basically the BTP Nerve Centre for the entire weekend, where I catch up with work and do other things, or if something breaks I hop out and help them. Out on the floor we have the laptops, which will be using chat software to talk to various scouts around the world in different time zones. It's always interesting talking to a New Zealander in one chat and another one in the UK. Laptops obviously are provided by BTP, and all the help and assistance provided by BTP. So here we have average laptop. So tomorrow there will be numerous kids coming through here battling to use the laptops. Hopefully the laptops will survive the experience. And we also have to switch back here. So BTP provides the laptops, the switching equipment, obviously there's some signs, and the server. But what else goes on? How steady do you think your hands are? You can try to run the metal over the curly strip here and see what happens. There's all kinds of little gadgets here they can play with. Here we have the robotic set where they can make little cars and things, little all kinds of things really. Program them with the laptops and then run them wild on this big board up here. We'll see more of that tomorrow. All sorts of amazing things to make the imagination go wild. This will be the Skype station, and then we've got the Fox equipment for finding the radios and the charging of the radios tonight. So this is the calm before the storm tonight. This year the Scouts will be able to play with some cars. We've got some radio controlled cars that have been donated. We've got the Morse code station. They can also try their hand at soldering and can make their own little kits and things. We've got the semaphore flags over here, an old style radio. All kinds of things coming out for Jota. Soldering irons are at the ready, so they'll bring their kits in here and try and solder them up and test them and make lights come on and off and all sorts of things. So the whole event is all about stimulating kids' minds and making them think beyond the average, and use the internet and radios and things like that for communications. We're lucky enough from years gone past that we've now got our own mast here, so we don't have to set it up every year. And every one of us has pretty much got a car full of radio odds and sods, and antennas and our amateur licenses and all sorts of things to show others. We've got all kinds of different aerial setups, wires dangling everywhere, HF, UHF, VHF, packet radio, Echo Link, Skype, all kinds of things. Various radios used for amateur radio, and tomorrow we'll tune in when we get the amateur TV happening.
Smooth play. The smallest plate was really stuck.
the news headlines, and in this week's special edition, read by the Guides and Scouts, we'll hear how one amateur radio operator is lucky to be alive after his rocket carrying him, Kilo Golf 5 Tango Mike Victor, to the International Space Station blew up. ET heard calling CQ. Many special call signs commemorating the end of World War I to be on air, including Zulu Sierra 100 Whiskey Whiskey 1 and our own Victor Kilo 100 Peace. These stories and more in this edition of News from the Wireless Institute of Australia 2018. And for the week of October 21st, the best news you'll get all week.
RAC, NZART, and the worldwide sources of WIA. Rocket carrying radio from KG-5TMV to ISS fails. A Soyuz rocket booster failed during the launch of a capsule carrying NASA astronaut Nick Hague, KG-5TMV, and Russian cosmonaut Alexei Ovchinin, forcing officials to abort their mission. The capsule made a ballistic landing and rescue teams recovered the pair, who are reportedly in good condition, NASA says. Hague and Ovchinin launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, heading to join the crew of the International Space Station. But more about a minute after the launch, the Soyuz MS-10's booster failed. Search and recovery teams had been pre-deployed to areas beneath the possible flight path. Helicopters were able to reach Hague and Ovchinin fairly quickly and extract them from the capsule. They then started the process of flying back to the Baikonur Cosmodrome. Russia is reported to have suspended any further crewed flights, and any investigations into what went wrong had begun. France, a village of amateur radio. The tourist office of St. Malo in Brittany are promoting a village of amateur radio. A Google translation of the page reads, "A radio museum open to all history and evolution of radio receivers. Radio amateurs from the Emerald Coast will present visitors with radio receivers